Going live.
You're the reason why I am my way. You're the reason why I rip my shirts, why I eat at the buffet. Butter, you got your very own kind of nice. We all live inside a butter world. Oh, butter, butter. Gonna eat it by the sticks tonight. Gonna eat out this world. Oh, butter. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all night. Butter dreaming. I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream. What I dream about all.
Hey, yo, welcome to a Monday Night Live with Butterfield. We have Mr. Anderson. Yes,
Soon
The-
coming back home, baby.
Mr. Anderson coming back to the Cape soon, real
Yeah.
soon, coming back
Great
to
news. I
Massachusetts.
got a nice chair, man.
Nice. Yeah, looking
It's
good.
great.
Looks
You
pretty
got that
comfy,
lumbar
yes.
support. Dude, you know what grinds my gears? Why are all the chairs today designed, all the seating arrangements, all seats today are designed to like have your head like hunched forwards? What is up with that? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. When you're in a car seat, you're on the plane, it's like you gotta be seated like this. Like, how is that ergonomic?
That is true. That is true. That the headrest is actually something that protrudes forward. Has your head.
Yeah. Dude, the
Oh.
whole world is a lie. Everything they tell us about nutrition is a lie. They want us to be like stunted in our brain growth, and then they want us to be hunched over. You know, they want to make us wear masks so our ears are like forward like this, and we're just like these ugly like
Hunchbacks.
yeah these ugly hunchbacks. What's the name of that movie? The Hunchback from Notre Dame. That's not the name of the movie, but
Yeah.
the
The-
Monster of Notre Dame, something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember the title of the movie at
What
all.
is it?
I don't
It's-
remember. But yeah, you already have your phone, and you don't hold your phone like this. You hold it facing down always, like at waist level. So yes, I agree. Everything is geared out for you to be hunched over, not looking at the world, not looking at the things that exist in front of you.
Quasimodo is the name of the guy.
Quasimodo.
Yeah, Quasimodo. They want us to look like Quasimodo, man.
Mhm.
But they won't win.
They won't
Stand up straight.
stand up straight, pop out the neck.
Anyhow, we have a great show
Anyhow.
planned for you tonight. We just came from our Instagram live that we do every Monday. It's Monday Night Live. We're doing this YouTube show now. We had many great questions. We talked about bulking and gaining weight, on animal-based nutrition, packing on muscle. Someone asked us about fish, Janus, and primal diets. It was a great time. As always, we love all those questions. Join a free Discord if you want to continue having more discussions, any questions that come up. As always, if whatever new lie you hear about meat this week, we want to hear about it so we can arm you with the truth. So check it out. Join the free Discord. Open Zoom meetings every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So far, find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Like, share our content. Comment, please, for the algorithms. We need your help in this battle so we can get this information out in front of more eyes, educate more minds, and dismantle the perverse food agenda. And last but not least, we do offer 2-on-1 consultations. So if you need help on your weight loss, muscle building journey, we're more than happy to work with you and find the optimal animal-based nutrition for you, something you can sustain and adhere. Most diets fail because of behavioral issues, not because of the effectiveness of a diet or not. So if you're anything like us, then animal-based or carnivore might be the best fit for you. I know it certainly is for me. It certainly seems to be the case for Jay. Now I got that covered. We have a great topic planned for you tonight. Lots of science we're bringing in, lots of authorities that we're going to be quoting, because as always, this is a science-based, evidence-based, truth-based, just real life, based in reality show. We have our bias, of course, but at least we're not like atrophied in the brain like our plant-based friends. But we wish all the health to them. We're always going to be here, and you always see former vegans coming to carnivore. You never see it the other way around. Just an interesting observation, because I saw there was an exchange in tweets between Sean Baker and Simon Hill today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I just have that in my mind. Hilarious stuff. It was really comedy. Simon Hill is making the case that all these people feel great on carnivore, but you never hear about the people who didn't feel great because, wait for it, they died of heart disease. He literally made that claim. And it's like, how much longer are we going to bury our head in the sand, Simon? The proof that all the vegans are coming to carnivore, no one's going from carnivore to vegan. Just people vote with their choices, man.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So the failed carnivores are all dead, basically. That's
pretty much. They all died of heart disease.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So in the short life that carnivore has surfaced into existence, probably like 2017, 2016 maybe. Well, like publicly, very publicly. I'm sure it started way earlier than that. Now we have people dying of heart disease from the diet. Excellent. But they don't exist because they're dead, so they cannot speak. Anyhow, love it. Thanks for that update. Man. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked here.
Yeah, I mean, it's on topic with tonight's topic: heart disease, CT scans versus genetics. What is it?
Yes, sir. Housekeeping items, as always, we want to talk about the Step May Challenge. We are on the 29th of May, and the challenge for May has been taking steps. 1 step equals 1 point. So if you didn't join and you didn't do any steps in May, no judgment, but shame on you. So this is a leaderboard for as of today. We have Lady Dolan with 185,000 steps. Her goal is actually to be at 200,000 steps before the end of May. I'm pretty sure she's going to get there. She's just like 15K away. I'm at 166. And we got quite a few people there in the over 100K steps for the month of May. Anderson, your Fitbit is not working, so you've been unable to track, right?
Yeah, and I hate carrying my phone like when I go on a walk.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
because I'm bombarding my butt cheeks with EMFs.
Oh yeah.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But also, since I got this chair, I pretty much just roll everywhere now.
Well, you're using your legs, right? You're using your legs to kind of slide through.
Yeah.
So that must count for something. Now we have to think about June challenge because it's starting soon, and we should announce it in a couple days.
I have an idea that's easy to do, and you can virtually do anywhere. Calf body weight calf races.
Ooh.
Dude, since I'm limited in gym equipment here, I've been doing like 3 sets of 100 calf races, and I guarantee, like, by the 3rd set, I mean, even the 1st set, like when you hit 70 or 80, like it starts to burn. By the 3rd set, like it's really hard, and my calves are actually sore like the day after, even just doing like 3 sets of 100. But you gotta do volume though, right? Like, I mean, it's the calves. But I swear, like, I think that might just be the best workout you can do. A very overlooked exercise that you can virtually do anywhere. You can do it while you wait. You can do it. I do it while I rest in between sets.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just calf races, body weight. No step, no nothing, just straight on the floor.
Oh, yeah. So you're standing flat on the ground and they just
like, that's it. Yeah. Like, yeah. it's actually like, in my opinion, very good. And then you can make it harder, you can jump or whatever. But I don't think any of that is necessary. I think like, man, if you went up to like 5 sets of 100 in a day, you see some real gains in your calves.
Nice, nice. I like it.
Yeah,
Body weight calves. Let's do it. Let's do
yeah.
it. Awesome. No, yeah, definitely. We're gonna put that in the books. All right, to the topic on hand. So, since we're talking about heart disease, let's just gather a little bit of context about, how serious is heart disease, right? Because we know about heart disease, but right, here's a statistic from the CDC, our favorite corporation. Right, it's not a governing body, by the way. It's a corporation. Uh, there's a nice infographic here that says leading 2022 leading causes of death. You have heart disease, number one, number two, cancer, all cancers, right? So that's a lot. And three, unintentional injury.
Yeah.
So I know, right? Like
Number 4, really?
well, there's a website. It's like a comorbidity with a bunch of things. So it can be hard to discern because it could be diabetes, but this was a comorbidity of it. But they're using this as that. Um,
Yeah. No, I got you. And
yeah.
also like before 2020, number 3 or 4 would have been like the flu, influenza.
Mm,
But I'm glad
mm.
that no one's getting influenza anymore. So
Yeah. So good job, humanity. Good job, CDC or whoever was doing in charge of this. You got rid of the flu. Uh, so yeah, here I highlighted during 2022 the three leading causes of death were heart disease, and here we're talking about the U.S. 699,000 deaths, cancer 607,000 deaths, and unintentional injury 218,000 deaths. This was in 2022. Now, um, oh, I'm not sharing the screen.
yeah, we don't have to get into the Schmovid debacle. I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably like very well informed, I would hope. Um, we don't want to put any of this channel at risk, even though the likelihood of this channel ever taking off in this certain subject area is very unlikely. But hey, we'll keep on doing our part, and we're going to be here for the decades to come. So definitely join our Discord, in case for whenever we get kicked off the platforms, and we will,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
yeah, yeah, and we should develop our website more so that we can have like a legit member section, um, just in case everything else fails. Instagram. Imagine Instagram fails, YouTube fails, Discord fails. We would
Have our content there.
yeah, we would have our website. But that's a future project. So yeah, this is where I'm basically where we're taking out the data from the CDC provisional mortality data, US 2022. 3.2 million people died in the year of 2022. And yeah, this is the infographic that I'm using. Um, yeah. Honestly, that's all I want to highlight from that. So heart disease is a pretty serious disease. It is the number one killer. Um, dare I say, the real pandemic that we are seeing right now.
And you'd think for being the number one killer, we should really have a good understanding of what causes it and what is happening. But of course, that's why this topic is so controversial, right? Because there's a lot of money to be made from this. There's a lot of money to be made from extracting your health and have you pay for it with your time and your money and the suffering of you and your immediate family and friends and the nurse's time and the doctor's time and all the plastics that go into all the uh, hospital hospital events and so on and so forth. There's a lot of money to be made in this industry, and no wonder we're so confused about it. But I mean, the average person will be confused. I think it's pretty cut and clear to me and to us what causes heart disease and how you can prevent it. But back to what the AHA says.
Yeah, yeah. So, I was, we got the data from the CDC. I was, obviously you got to look at the American Heart Association because they are like the centerpiece. They are here to take care of heart disease, and they've been here for a while, and we still have heart disease as the number one killer. So they're doing what they're doing, and are they doing it good? Evidently, that's up to you to decide. So as I was going through this, um, there was citing data from 2019 to talk about cardiovascular disease. So cardiovascular disease is listed as the underlying cause of death, accounted for 874,000 deaths in the US in 2019. So what's interesting is that the 22 data that we just saw from the CDC is actually 200K, roughly 200K lower than
Yeah, yeah,
2019 data. Um, and the thing is that this is the 2022 update, and they're citing 2019 data, which has my head scratching, but um, interesting.
yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, it's just what is going on?
Could it be that the numbers are actually higher now?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Why are they using 2019 data in the 2022 data? They don't actually explain why.
Yeah,
Um,
because irreversible medical procedures that might have taken place. I don't know. But anyhow, the count is lower for 2022. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and this is something that we can actually discern. Heart disease was the number one cause of death in 2019. It still is today. So good job, American Heart Association, in keeping that as number one. So I guess that's a good job security right there, right? Uh, but CHD accounted for 12.6% of deaths in the US in 2018, causing 360,000 deaths.
yeah,
Um,
that's coronary heart disease.
Coronary heart disease, yes. Um, Approximately every 40 seconds, someone in the US will have a myocardial infarction, which is all interesting stats.
Yeah, myocardial infarction being a fancy way of saying heart attack. Just for those who don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And the estimated direct and indirect cost of heart disease in 2017 to 2018 was $228 billion in the US alone. So, um, yeah, it's a lot of money just trying to take care of coronary heart disease.
yeah.
Uh,
Hey, take 1% of that, and you can fund any fake meat startup, and it would literally be an investment towards your
to-
job security.
yeah, yeah, more job security for AHA. Um, So yeah, then you go into strokes, sudden cardiac arrests. Obviously, it's all the issues of the heart are they are a problem. They are more modern disease, a modern problem. So um, yeah, it's just highlighting here. I'm just gonna jump to the next one. This is an infographic that they did: heart disease and stroke statistics. 9.8 million adults have undiagnosed diabetes, which is pretty crazy. 113 million adults have pre-diabetes based on 2015 to 2018 data, and 27.8% of US adults have high LDLC, and they're calling high LDLC greater than 130 mgs per deciliter, which is very interesting. Um,
Okay, so the other 72.2% have lower than that,
Hmm.
and it's the number one killer.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
interesting.
so if only there were some data that could, parse out the information of like what percentage of the people dying from the number one cause of death fall within that 27.8% range
Mm.
versus those who fall outside of it. And where do you suppose more people are dying? We have covered this data in the past, and while I do not remember the exact statistic, most of the events happen in people with already low LDLC, which begs the question of like, why are we still using this as an indicator? Anyhow, that's the topic of tonight's talk. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No, you're right. It's that's a fantastic point, right? You know, most of the cases are actually happening with low LDLC, so
yeah,
it's crazy. On average, every 36 seconds, someone dies of CVD, which is insane. And here, just one last statistic, which was very interesting. Each 1,000 steps per day increases in activity as is associated with 10% lower risk of having metabolic syndrome in the US for men. So there you go. There you have May challenge. So CT scans versus polygenic risk scores. So basically, using a CT scan, you can determine better the level of risk in middle-aged persons' risk for heart disease. The traditional measures used in the past is using cholesterol and blood pressure. So now we're going to jump into the article that actually talks about this more in depth because it's based off a study. We also cover the study pretty quickly. It's behind a paywall, but so we only have like the front page of it. um, Anderson, do you want to read us the article over here?
yeah, yeah. So CT scans are better at predicting a middle-aged person's risk for a heart disease, such as heart attack, than genetics, reports a new Northwestern Medicine study. Quote, finding the best way to identify who is at risk of developing heart disease can help determine what needs to be done to lower the risk, said lead study author Dr. Sadia Khan, an assistant professor of medicine and preventive medicine at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine and a Northwestern Medicine cardiologist. This finding can help doctors and patients in managing risk for heart disease, which is the leading cause of death in the US. The study will be published May 23rd in JAMA.
Yeah, yeah. So we just showed you some statistics. We showed you that in 2022, 600,000 deaths in the U.S. are from heart disease. In 2019, it was actually 800K. Heart disease caused 800K deaths. So yeah, it's still the number one leading cause of death in the U.S. But yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. Currently, conventional measures of risk factor levels, such as blood pressure and cholesterol, are used by doctors to determine a person's likelihood of developing coronary heart disease or blockages of the arteries in the heart. But some people may experience a heart attack or related heart problem without one of those conventional factors picking it up. Some, if only we knew how many that sum is. I'm trying to find the paper, but we talked about it a while back.
It's almost as if cholesterol is not really a good indicator. It's not good enough.
It really isn't. For any of the listeners, check out the study clubs if you want to geek out on the subject, which we certainly do. But continuing on, because the risk for heart disease can be inherited, scientists were optimistic that a person's genetics can inform who is at greatest risk. Khan said it was posited that polygenic risk scores a compilation of more than 6 million commonly occurring genetic variants associated with heart disease could be used as a potential breakthrough for personalized medicine. Dude, whenever someone brings genes into the conversation, I am very, very skeptical.
One
Not to be
100%.
not to be unscientific, but like to say that like what happened to our genes that we're getting more heart disease today than before? Like what happened? Is it the
Uh,
genes?
yeah, yeah, and this sentence right here, a compilation of more than 6 million commonly occurring genetic variants associated with heart disease. This is critical because it says associated. Can you picture in your head finding 6 million genetic variants and associating all 6 million to heart disease? What?
What?
Okay. Uh
6 million, man. Get out of here.
get out of here. So so
Yeah.
so basically they were saying, hey, if we use genes, we can sort of determine how likely you are to get heart disease. That actually sounds great in paper, like, but it sounds pretty much deterministic. Like, hey, you're born, these are your genes, so on and so forth. Here's some medicine because based on your genes, you're gonna get it. So start taking the medicine now.
Yeah, what do we live in? Gattaca?
Yeah, Gattaca. Oh,
Anyhow,
we got a couple comments from Christopher Shame, which is he says, "Wait, you mean the margarine isn't making their hearts healthy?" No, sir. The same people making the food or the same people making the drugs are the same people making the hospitals, are the same people making the insurance, are the same people, and by people I mean demons.
quite literally.
You inherit using margarine. That's how you get heart disease.
That's where the genes play a role, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Your genes, when you start consuming margarine, your genes are causing you heart disease. But if you take away the margarine, um, the heart disease, your genes suddenly are not causing you heart disease. So make that make sense.
yeah,
I think there's 6 million products that contain seed oils.
absolute poppycock. 6 million products. Man, Christopher's bringing the shame to these people.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Well, continuing on, but the new Northwestern study directly compares genetics and CT scans for coronary artery calcium, CAC, and demonstrates that the CT scan does a better job than genetics at predicting risk for heart disease in middle age.
So I mean, how is this surprising? I mean, I'm glad this is now out. This is actually new as of May 23rd. But you're gonna tell me that people are surprised that if you look at the image of the artery plaque or lack of plaque, tells you risk better than some genes. Um, I mean, I'm glad the data's out to confirm this, but it shouldn't be a surprise that direct observation of the arteries and plaque will be a better indicator than kind of just like looking at whatever gene composition that you have, and then assuming that out of the 6 million different genes that there are out there associated, you have risk for heart disease. Anyway,
Anyhow, yeah, where were we? These findings,
yeah.
these findings support recommendations to consider CT screening to calculate risk for heart disease in middle-aged patients when their degree of risk is uncertain or in the intermediate range, Khan said. The study used data from 3,208 adults from two cohort studies, one based in the US and one in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Investigators used data on risk factors for heart disease, smoking status, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, genetics, and CT scan data to estimate the risk of developing heart disease. The study follow-up of up to 17 years. Wow,
Yeah.
okay. So relatively small group, 3,000 people is not that many, but long period, 17 years. That's, as far as studies go, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
And they did evaluate, the relevant risk factors, genetics, and the CT scans. So
Yeah.
um, sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on, investigators looked at how using either CT scans or polygenic risk scores affected the risk predicted of individuals based on conventional risk factors, blood pressure and cholesterol, and whether the addition of either of these markers, CT or genetics, put them in a different risk category. Low risk means someone has less than 7.5% risk of developing heart disease in the next 10 years. If it is above 7.5%, statins are recommended. Okay. So using genetic data did not affect the person's risk category based on their conventional risk factors, blood pressure and cholesterol, but only when considering CT scan, half the study participants moved into high risk group. So, quote, the data from the CT scan can help identify individuals who may benefit from medications such as statins to reduce the risk of heart disease, quote, Khan said. Other Northwestern authors are Norina Allen, Dr. Donald M. Lloyd Jones, and Dr. Philip Greenland. So, of course, the conclusion they jump to is, we can use this data to better assess whether they need statins or not. Okay. Yeah. God forbid we do a dietary intervention to these people, because that would require some self-responsibility, self-accountability, right?
I cannot get rid of my cookies or whatever, my fries, my sodas. But yeah,
Oh, wait,
that's
Jay, I found it. I was looking away because I really wanted to find the data point of this study, and it's the study that evaluated like how many of these people had high cholesterol and how many didn't, that had cardiac events. And there is a study that shows that 75% of patients hospitalized for heart attacks did not in fact have high LDL.
75%.
Yeah, in a study that looked at a 2009 paper that looked at 136,905 hospitalizations, assessing
Wow.
lipid levels in patients hospitalized with coronary artery disease. That was the result. 75% of them did not have high LDL-C. High LDL-C being characterized as, I think it was above 100 milligrams per deciliter.
Mm.
Anyhow, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. we're-
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So basically, all these cases are happening at low LDL-C. And then the other thing to highlight about this is that, yeah, they were using conventional risk factors like blood pressure and cholesterol, but then they applied the gene risk factor, and people uh, didn't move from low risk to high risk. But when they applied the CT scan, when they actually look at the plaque buildup on the arteries, they actually move some people from to the high risk. So CT scan, when you actually do direct observation into the calcium artery plaque in in a patient, no surprise, if you find something there, then that actually qualifies them as higher risk. So I'm glad this is out.
yeah, yeah. But the randomization trials, we
Oh,
can we can sort by all the genes and see which ones are at higher risk factor. Uh,
yeah. I mean,
Evidence, PhDs.
yeah. It's just yeah, and we're gonna have to cover that topic, and I feel like it's coming because to talk about the gene theory and about how as you saw, they say over here, 6 million commonly occurring generic variants that are associated with heart disease. So and you're taking those 6 million commonly occurring associations and running a study based on that and then calling a Mendelian randomization. um, it's like you're jumping through like 10 different levels of theory, stacking them all up together, and then coming up with a conclusion and saying, oh yeah, genes cause heart disease.
Yeah, which and saying that LDL-C is a causative factor in heart disease, like you have the correlation in the population, right? Which no one's refuting that the correlation exists. High LDL-C with higher occurrences of heart disease, but what we're saying, or rather, like the counter argument is that is not the causative factor. Maybe it's just a proxy marker. Like it's not the same as someone with high LDL-C who recently lost weight doing a low carb diet, right? Very different situations. But when you look at it across at a whole population, these people have high LDL-C, they have high triglycerides, they are overweight, they have high blood pressure, they have all these things going on. So you take that population, you look at their genes, you scramble it, and then you say, oh, look, if we randomize by the genes, LDL is still causative. Like, yeah, so as you said, you're stacking all these theories and getting the same association at the end because the population you're looking at is already unhealthy and has this association. But not because of LDL-C, man. It's because they're overweight and have high blood pressure and they're eating junk.
Yes. Oh man, yes. It's
Crying out loud.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
hope that makes sense.
yeah. It is such an interesting topic. It is the topic of this day when it comes to nutrition. Here, just reading Christopher's comments. No, genes are highly overrated, presented. It's fake science to push agendas.
Yeah, some people will say that blue jeans are getting smaller. That's why they're fitting tighter.
Yeah, they're tighter around the booty. 100%. I love you guys. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Appreciate the love.
Shout out Christopher. Thank you, man. I hope you're in our Discord group.
Yeah. I'd love to give you my testimony. Oh, absolutely, man. I'm 46 doing backflips.
Yeah, dude, definitely join the Discord. We'll set it up and we'd love to have you.
Yeah, we'll do love to hear your testimony, man. Like, we need more voices.
Backflips, bro. This guy's putting us to shame, bro.
Yeah, I can do 0 backflips.
I need to learn how to do handstands first, and then maybe I'll learn how to do a backflip.
Yeah, we need to do it for a monthly challenge.
hand steps.
Hand steps, handstands, and backflips.
Yeah.
How to lie with statistics. Ethophies, basically how they do it. Is that a website? Statistics.ethophies. But yeah, I've heard, like, yeah, you can p-hack, right? You can p-hack in order to get the your null hypothesis or alternate hypothesis rejected or not.
Yeah, p-hacking.
They used to be able to lie and everybody bought it. Poor boomers, but now we're not retarded anymore. We don't have to go to school. We can be smarter than the professor. Yeah, I mean, all the with, like it or not, with YouTube out there, you can learn a lot of like stuff with the internet. Basically, it's a Library of Alexandria in the internet.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah, handstands every day and working out inside a building, MU, with mirrors. Nice.
Man, yeah, I'm gonna go practice some handstands. Hopefully, I don't break my back.
I know, right? I know.
Anyhow, yeah, we have the study here pulled up. Jay pulled it up. Coronary artery calcium score and polygenic risk score for the prediction of coronary heart disease events. So this is the actual study. What we were reading before was just an article that was talking about the study.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as you see, this was published on JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, is it?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not just some shoddy journal where you can pay to publish your data. But what do we got here?
Yeah, so the question, does discrimination change when either coronary artery calcium score or polygenic risk score is added to coronary heart disease prediction model based on traditional risk factors? Findings that in the two population-based studies involving 3,000 adults aged 45 through 79, multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis, MESA, and European ancestry, a coronary artery calcium score significantly improved discrimination when added to a traditional risk factor-based model, MESA. But the polygenic risk score did not. Similar findings were observed when stratified by median age. So yeah, basically a CAC score, coronary artery calcium score, was better at, they call it discriminating, but basically moving you from low risk to high risk at identifying someone who is higher risk. But the polygenic risk score was not. That should bring into question any studies using genetics that sort of determine how if you're at a risk probability of some disease, right? Um, yeah, yeah.
What
Oh, do you
got
want
here?
to?
The abstract importance. Well, we kind of covered the importance. That's pretty well established. I mean, number one killer. Um, where,
Yeah.
where should we go to?
Uh, yeah. No. No. You're right. You're right. Because here,
Yeah.
conclusion. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the results, there are a bunch of numbers. Median age 61 in Mesa and 67 in the Rotterdam study. Polygenic risk score.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
overall categorical net reclassification improvement was significant when the coronary artery calcium score, but was not significant when the polygenic risk score was added to the PCEs.
oh yeah, and the PCEs were the pulled something. Oh yeah, we didn't read about the pooled cohort equations.
There we go. Yeah.
Uh,
So I mean, yeah, it is some funky stuff. That's how they try to normalize the risk associations across both groups.
yeah.
We'll focus on the conclusion today. This is probably a good study to dive deeper into in our study club. Check out our study club where we actually read literature. Um, we're not scientists, but we're very smart individuals, and we've been researching this side of nutrition as it pertains to animal foods and fats and cholesterols and markers for many years now. And luckily, we have the platform of social media where we continue to challenge our ways of thinking by being presented different opinions and having you along for the journey.
Yeah.
Cholesterol's
Yeah. Cholesterol is good. Yes, sir.
good.
Yes. So now let's actually talk a little bit about coronary artery calcium score. Um, it is a specialized X-ray test that provides a picture of your heart. It helps detect and measure the calcium-containing plaque in your arteries. Let me see if I can pull that up here from the Mayo Clinic. Yeah, this is a sample picture, calcified coronary plaque. They're highlighting this little white area here, but we have some more pictures on another slide.
Fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. Why is it done? Your doctor may order a heart scan to get a better understanding of your risk of heart disease, or if your treatment plan is uncertain. A little bit about the technology: multi-detector, row or multi-slice computerized tomography. The scan creates multiple images that can show up plaque deposits in the blood vessels. A heart scan provides an early look at levels of plaque. Plaque is made up of fats, cholesterol, calcium, and other substances in the blood. It develops gradually over time, long before there are any signs of symptoms of disease. So it sounds to me like it is a pretty good tool for preventative measurements. Um, when can you use it? If your heart disease risk isn't clear, your doctor can tell you you might benefit from a heart scan. Once you have a heart scan, it may help you motivate you to make more important lifestyle changes.
Yeah, yeah. Coronary artery. Yeah, it's. I think that some people also do tests for the for other arteries, for like carotid arteries, which are the ones that go in your
Mm.
neck. I think I've seen some people test those. I mean, I'm not saying like that's a test that people suggest or recommend, but I'm pretty sure like I've heard Dave Feldman talk about measuring his carotid artery plaques. Um, he could
Interesting.
actually see them like grow and go away,
Oh wow. Wow.
something like that. Yeah.
Dang. Wow. Could you purposefully, eat a seed oil diet, plant heavy diet, and then watch it grow, and then jump on a carnivore diet, and then watch it go away? Is that something that could be done? I don't know. Sounds kind of risky, to kind of subject yourself to heart disease on purpose, or knowingly to subject yourself to heart disease. And then, I mean, I know carnivore diet is very useful, but talking about reversing plaque, that would be a novel concept for me. Um, Certainly not a topic that I am very well versed and not or prepared to talk about honestly, or make any claims, because that would be very bold to say, "Hey, if you do this, you can reverse your plaque." Although that would be very powerful. That would be very, very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's extremely powerful, and of course, if you can see it and you can measure it, then that is, you're looking at the direct pathology there, right? Like the main concern. Remember, this is the main concern, and that is heart disease as caused by the buildup of plaque in your arteries. Usually, most cases, I think universally, might be wrong there, and save for some fringe cases, but most of it is in the arteries and is the buildup of plaque. It used to be the belief that saturated fats would clog your arteries, much like saturated fats clog pipes. But pipes in your house or any building for that matter are not at a steady 37 degrees Celsius body temperature, right? Which
Mm.
um, also you don't have straight up fat running in your blood, because fat and water, they don't mix together. That's why you have lipoproteins, which are the little boats that carry around triglycerides and cholesterol, because otherwise you'd have like a two-phase layer, a two-phase liquid flowing through your arteries, which is not the case. So yeah, no, saturated fats don't clog your arteries, and this is the direct pathology, right? So if you're concerned about that, rather than looking at your LDL cholesterol, which is just, it's nothing but smoke and mirrors, really. I mean, it's a prescription happy doctors want to put you in a statin, and statins are, just read about the side effects of a statin and evaluate for yourself whether it's actually worth taking that risk. For some nutrition mainstream nerds will actually take statins for prevention, which I think is just a demonstration of how consumed they have been by the science and out of touch they are with reality and nature. One of the reasons why I don't like looking at genes and making conclusions from those is because you have to assume from the get-go that we have been designed with inherent flaws, and I refuse to accept that. I don't care if I'm wrong. I refuse to accept that. I will never accept it.
Yeah.
I believe humans have been created in perfection. We're perfectly created, and it is the modern world that perverts our very own nature, and we insult our beautiful nature, mainly with the food,
Yeah.
but also many other things, such as irreversible medical procedures and medications that treat the symptoms and never the underlying causes. Anyhow, I could ramble on
No,
forever about this topic.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, like you could also like put it is a philosophical. Basically, it's a philosophical question about is this
Yes.
thing where we exist deterministic, right? If you believe in gene theory, then you're probably saying is deterministic. You have these genes. This is going to happen to you. There's no way to stop it unless you take the medicine, of course. Or is there free will? Can you adjust your lifestyle and never in your life experience this without uh, without um, without treatments or such? But yeah, yeah, coronary artery calcium score images. Here are some other images. What CAC score 0 looks like, and CAC score 1200 looks like. Um, Obviously, there's like those. This would be the calcium spots over the artery, the white spots. Yeah, this is just a scan. And then here's the calcium scores. Ranging from 0 to over 400. 0 having no evidence of plaque, 1 through 10 minimal coronary artery plaque, 11 through 100 mild coronary artery plaque, 101 to 400 moderate coronary artery plaque, and over 400 extensive coronary artery plaque. And I took this from the consulting radiologist website, basically talking about how does your heart score. So how do you interpret your CAC score? Yeah, yeah. That's all I wanted to cover there. And then the flip side of this study was like the polygenic risk scores.
Yeah, I think more people might be unfamiliar with what that actually is. But polygenic from polygenes, from many genes. So you can kind of just figure that out, what that means.
Yeah. Basically using genetic framework to identify risk. One way, a quote from the polygenic risk scores AHA scientific statement, quote, one way by which people can learn about the risk of developing a disease based on the total number of changes related to the disease. And here they're talking about genes. How many of these genes changes in relation to the disease? It's a whole mind wrap. And then from the National Human Genome Research Institute, quote, complex diseases occur as a result of many genomic variants paired with environmental influences, such as diet, sleep, stress, and smoking. They're also called polygenic diseases, with poly meaning many and genic involving genes.
There we go.
Yeah. So Mr. Anderson nailed it as always with the polygenic stuff. And yeah, this is coming from the National Human Genome Research Institute. This page kind of talks about how the human DNA, it's a 6 billion letter code. There might be some slight differences between person A and person B that makes us all kind of unique. And then you try to find variations of specific diseases in the gene code. And as we highlighted earlier, there's about 6 million associated genes to heart disease, and keyword associated. Now, there's probably more straightforward diseases where are monogenic, where a single gene has been identified that can cause a progressive disease. They give an example here, cystic fibrosis. And then there's complex diseases, the polygenic, where there's multiple genes. And you have to ask yourself, what's the limit that we can comprehensively understand as too many genes, right? How in the world can we associate 6 million genes to heart disease. Um, right? That's just like beyond complexity. Anyhow, I believe this is all that we have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this, genes, dude. There are two things whenever people bring up in the studies and the science. There are two things I'm very highly skeptical of and almost like completely dismissive. Number one is when people start talking about like the certain strains of bacteria that show up in your gut microbiome, right? Like, oh, this bacteria is associated to be beneficial, and this bacteria is associated to be detrimental or contributing to colon cancer, because that those associations are really based off of also like epidemiological data, right? Like you have studies associating red meat with disease, and then you look at the gut bacteria of these people, and then it's like, boom, you eat red meat, it increases your risk of colon cancer because of this certain gut bacteria strain. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're stacking theories on top and just like creating fear. And of course, we don't accept that. We don't accept that red meat would ever contribute to any disease. So that's number one. Whenever people start talking about, oh, you need more diversity in your gut bacteria, it's like we don't know anything about the gut bacteria as far as I'm concerned. And number two is genes. Genes, man. Like Mendelian randomization trials where you're randomizing by genetic variants. Come on, man. Come on,
and
man.
and you're moving forward assuming that the genetic variants that you identified are actually true measures of disease risk,
Exactly.
which and now we're talking about 6 million of them. What?
Dude, we can't even agree on like what blood lipid markers we should be using instead of just looking at LDL-C. And there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's three, right? Well, you can subfractionate the LDLs, so you can do that. So, but even then, you won't get to like more than 10. But you're gonna tell me we can take 6 million variants and come up with a decent conclusion there that we all have to universally accept? No, of course not. And by the way, like the answer for the blood lipids, like it's there. We have it. The data is there. It's been shown and demonstrated and proven and backed up and
Correct.
supported with like the following according theory and like narrative. Anyhow, yeah, it just grinds my gears, and that's why you can't you have to be science based, but you can't be science bound, right? Like you must have some foundational values and views and truths on which you build your worldviews, and not just like I will sway whichever way the data points to, because then you don't really have an opinion. If you're like these evidence-based people, you don't really have your own opinion. You have like, hey, this is the opinion piece of the American Heart Association. That's what they said, so now that is my opinion. It's like, oh, they changed their mind, I changed my mind. It's like, no. How did you get to your conclusion?
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, are you really delegating all your thoughts? Like, are you kind of scared of standing alone with your own like truth, like original thought or like well reasoned truth? Or when someone comes to test your truth, are you not convinced that this is the truth, and then you're gonna back out the moment the heat is on? You're just gonna sway with whatever the authority is saying, and authorities are not infallible. So it's a pretty weak foundation to be putting your opinion on or deriving your opinion from.
Yeah, extremely weak.
Yeah,
Extremely
weak
weak.
foundation. Weak
And
foundation.
prone to being corrupt and influenced. I remain unwavered, and we remain unwavered in our foundational truths about nutrition. Animal foods are by and large beneficial, save for like maybe foods that have been highly manipulated through like genetic modification or like excessive organ meat consumption.
Yes.
Excessive is the key word.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
excessive.
yeah, there's a whole crowd that their whole shtick now is to like fearmonger vitamin A, retinol, and beta carotenes. But come on, when you take it as far as saying like eggs are bad for you, you lost me there. You know what?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. People who want to know more about that, just like look up like Dr. Grant Smith, Garrett Smith. He's the one who's like driving that, as far as I know, that viewpoint. And while we can agree with some of the stuff, you don't have to accept everything he says. Anyhow, it's
yeah.
you make your own conclusions. But we crossed the hour mark. I think we've given our thoughts and points of view throughout this whole piece. I don't have any other closing remarks other than like trust your intuition and trust animals.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so what I like about the coronary artery score or the CT scan is basically you're taking direct observation. You're looking at the heart and then you're determining, okay, I can see the plaque, right? That's going to be 100 times more effective than using genes. And this is what the study shows. Because genes, it's like you're sitting in a room looking at the ceiling and then thinking, oh, you have these genes, so here's some statins. No, I mean, it doesn't make sense in the real world. You have to, as my brother mentioned earlier, you have to be able to directly look at it, observe it, and measure it, and then thereby respond appropriately. Lifestyle changes, eating real foods, animal foods, and less of the modern foods.
Yeah,
And
going on a highly carnivorous diet.
yeah, yeah, correct. Um, but yeah, yeah. Let's just cover the comments from Christopher.
Oh, sure.
Christopher says, I advocate lumberjacking and digging with an axe and scything for optimal strength and balance.
Yo, that's legit.
Yes,
Original Jim.
sounds pretty cool. Oh, how do I find the Discord? Uh,
Link in bio on Instagram. I mean, I assume you came from Instagram. But
yeah, that's true. We should probably refresh the invitation link in our Discord, right?
yeah,
Because it expires every so often. Uh, Christopher says, guys, it's really irrefutable. Yep, yep. So no, I'm glad this study is out because otherwise we would be living in a world, we would step towards a world where, everything is already predetermined for you, like the movie Gattaca. You have these genes, so that is it. This is who you are. That's your box. But no, we are humans. We have free will. We have the capacity to grow or not grow. We have the capacity to move or stay still. Um, Obviously, we are very pro growth, pro development, and building upon foundations. Um, so so I can see how some industries may prefer the gene route, right? Because imagine you have 6 million potential genes, and you have one of them. That means, hey, you have this one gene now. Hey, we have to give you statins because you have this one gene. While there's no real world evidence of you having any risk for the disease.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
And now that everyone's genes have been pulled from the latest DNA grab,
oh man,
you
yeah.
know, it's gonna be a matter of like you need to take this, or you won't be able to. I don't know, partake, have insurance, go to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. So, thanks everyone. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on the Monday Night Live. As always, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all the social media platforms.
Yeah, and definitely the Discord. Check out the website, buy the merch, and also if you're looking for someone to help you on your weight loss journey or fitness journey, teach you how to build some muscle, definitely hit us up. We have your back covered as far as nutrition and strength training routines go.
Yes, yes. And with that said, wishing everyone a happy, healthy, and more nutrient-dense era. Catch you all next time.